When we start working with variables in Figma or Bricks Builder, a lot of questions come to mind. What type of variable should I create? Which variables do I really need? Where and how I use a specific variable? In this video, I will answer all these questions step by step. If you download the file from the previous video, you already have all the essential variables you need to start any project. It means you don't have to create a variable system from scratch. Okay, the first step is the color palette. You can see the primary, secondary, the base, and the light, and the white, black, text color, heading color, border color, and the transparencies. Personally, I don't like a massive palette with 200 colors when I only use 10 or 20 colors. The palette in this file is not overly basic, but it's not too large either. But this is a solid starting point. Okay, if you need add other color palette, you are free to add or delete the color palette, the variables. For example, for the color palette, I will add a color tertiary, and I will add, for example, a red color. Okay, and right click, new group in this section. Okay, you can set tertiary, and you can add the light, ultralight, dark, and the transparencies. Okay, you need create the other variable, and if you need change the primary, you need change all the variations. Okay, this is a hard work, but if you have a fancy framework plugin, you only need start monitoring and click on the variable, click on the primary, and for example, I will change this and I will change this color, for example. And you can see that all colors in the palette for the primary will change. Okay, this save a lot of time. But if you don't have the plugin, you can create and change the all colors manually. Okay, in the future, I will explain how to use the fancy framework plugin from Figma. And then when you're finished to change the colors and configure it, you need to set the base colors. Okay, the base colors are very important because the base color is the color for the text. In this case, this is the color for the headings. Okay, this is the color for the light background. This is the color for the dark background. For example, this is a color for the border color. But you don't need use these colors. Okay, this is only a recommendation for your design, but you can change, for example, the heading colors. You can go to the variable, go to the typography style, and you can see the text color and the heading color. I recommend you that use the base color for the text, but for example, for heading color, you can change this, click on the name, and you can change this, for example, for primary color. And now you can see that all the headings will change if you work with the variables. For example, primary ultra dark for the heading color, and you can see that all the project will change the heading color. And this is very important that you set your text color, heading color, and border color. The text color, the heading color, and border color. Use the variables of the colors that already exist. Now, and this is a color palette for the white and transparencies. Okay, you need set the color palette. Now, the step 2, you need set the text color, the heading color, the font weight, and the font family. In Bricks Builder, these styles are in the theme's global settings, but in Figma, it's a good idea to set these in variables to keep the consistency on all the project. Okay, you can see any recommendations here. You can follow this, but if you are a advanced user, you can set your settings. Okay, for the step 3, you need to set the text size. And I recommend you that only change the text M because this is the size for the paragraphs, and the text MM for subheadings or paragraphs in the hero sections. and the text XL for example headings of the hero sections or big text. Okay, you can set this as you need. And the headings is the same way. You need to change the values. Okay, if you use a fancy framework plugin, okay, you have the possibility to set in the variables, okay, the text, for example, in the settings, okay, set clamp, okay, but I will explain you this in the future. And then in the spacing, okay, this is very, very important. The spacing and the gaps are the concepts. And for the space, okay, the space up are the padding for the sections, okay. For example, the padding for any section, the padding for cards, the padding for elements, okay. And the gaps are the space between the elements. For example, in this case, you can see the section. You have the space section for top and bottom, and you have a padding space M to left to right. Okay, but in the case of the gaps, is the space. Okay, for in the elements. For example, space the text, space the sections, space the cards. Okay, you can see in this guide that you can see the content gaps. In this case, this is the container gap because this is a group inside a section. Okay, and this is a container. Okay, this is the section, this is a container, this is a container, this is a gap container, and in this group you have a content gap. Okay, very, very important. And in the cards you have a variable named card gap. Okay, this is very, very important to keep the consistency throughout your project. If you need to change this, you can go to the variables, go the settings, the variables, you can see the spacing, you can see the gaps. Okay, in Figma you can use bidimensional variables for gaps. Okay, for example, in this case, the gaps, you can see the gaps use space XL and space L. Okay, in this case you need use the space, and the gaps are variables for space. Okay, you need assign the space for the gaps. Okay, but in the case for the grids, you need use the space. Okay, you can use gaps in this case for Figma. With these basic concepts, you are ready to start in Figma with a strong foundation. In the next videos, we will see how to create text styles, advanced auto layout, and practical exercise. Thanks for watching and see you in the next videos. Bye.